they do.
Or I can't remember because they say it different throughout the episode. I can't remember what was first and what was different. But
I thought it was look like crab, taste like people. I don't know.
that's
Well,
one of them,
that
and I think the other one is walk like crab, talk like people.
I believe so.
Yeah.
All right, time to start the show.
With your host, Wayne Newman, Greg Narlow, and Lou Max.
We really need a new intro. Regardless, welcome, bienvenue, and welcome to Ratsa Review. Lou Mavs here with Greg Noggle and Stan in the Cut. How are you, gentlemen?
Good evening, guys. I'm pretty good, although I think that
Hello.
that's just unplugged my router, so I will be back in like 30 seconds.
You darn cats. Wasn't that a movie, That Darn Cat? Oh, never mind.
Yeah, it was a Disney movie from like the 60s.
What was I thinking? Anywho, now, yes, Wayne is still on vacation for one more week. He'll be back next week, and we decided to hold off the Van Halen discography upon his return. So it was Stan's idea to bring up Mammoth WVH and their full discography because technically they only have 2 albums out until their next album comes out in October. Now, normally we would have more than 3, but Manny Mejias is not on the show tonight because he's on air with Al and Andy over at Be Cooler Be Podcast Out. So, Manny, I would just like to say, we will bury you. Okay.
Many. What the hell is this? Oh, too many.
To the jabroni, Manny Mejias. Jabroni. Anyway, Manny,
I break your head like a chicken, Manny.
I break your back and make you humble. I can't say the rest of what I do because we haven't passed 2 minutes yet. Now, hey, Manny, honestly, give a big shout out to him and Andy and Al over at Be Cool Be Podcast Out. Those are our boys, you know. And I mean, for God's sakes, Al watched us when he was in Portugal last week on a night that we normally aren't on. So, but still, it was cool to say, Manny, we will bury you. Okay, there. All right. That's my cross between Iron Sheik meets Khrushchev. What'd you think?
Mayday Manny.
That's you cutting a promo.
Hey, you like it, the promo? All right. So, as I mentioned earlier, we decided to wait until next week to begin our Van Halen discography. Almost Human. That would be Mr. Ralph Vieira. Ralph, hope you're doing well, man. You're in the hospital. We wish you all the best, okay? We heard you're going to a rehab facility after your exit, so just sending you lots of love and positive thoughts, buddy. Ralph wrote, I bought both Mammoth albums because I want to support Eddie's kid. I didn't like it much. I listened to the second one last week and really liked it a lot. Give the first one another try. I'm not going to disagree with him. So, but
speedy recovery, buddy.
Yes, definitely. We love you, Ralph.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, it was Stan's idea to bring up Mammoth WVH. So for anyone out there who's uninitiated, that is the band and brainchild of one Wolfgang Van Halen, son of the late, great Edward Van Halen, nephew to the also great Alex Van Halen, drummer extraordinaire. Stan, why'd you bring up Mammoth WVH for us to cover this week?
You know, we don't often talk about modern rock or metal music. I kind of noticed that, a lot of what we discuss is just, stuff from the 70s, stuff from the 80s. So, once in a while, it's kind of good to talk about, the stuff that's happening now, even though it might not be all that great. But also, I think it's just a cool warm up to the Van Halen discography, I guess.
It is, and I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, when it comes to modern music, 95% of it is homogenized and sounds the same, and it's terrible. Wolfgang's got a lot of soul in his music. I hate the production, but
yeah, we'll discuss that.
yeah, but that's par for the course with almost anything these days, except for Cancer's newest album. Buy it.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And watch the episode that Greg and I did covering it.
Yes.
Um,
Inverted world.
Look, I make no bones about it. There's a lot of modern metal stuff, probably more metal than rock, that I really like. I have spoken very highly of my love for bands like, oh, you're welcome, Ralph. He says thank you. For bands like After the Burial, Whitechapel, Periphery, Animals as Leaders. That's some of the more recent bands that have come out in the past 10, 15 years that I do love. It's really hard to kind of acknowledge every band that gets put out there, especially when it's really easy for good music to get lost in the shuffle. I mean, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but as an independent musician who, proudly releases their stuff with no apologies behind it, it's hard to get people to listen. And I get it. Some people are either stuck within a bubble, or because of all the bad stuff, it's like it's harder for them to acknowledge the good stuff that's out there. However, I think Wolfgang is probably the modern exception to the rule when it comes to radio friendly hard rock. I'm not going to call it metal because, I mean,
well, it isn't.
It's not.
It's not metal. It's not. And then for that matter, Van Halen wasn't technically metal either. I mean, they had more in common with like the rock and roll of. They had more in common with James Brown than they did Metallica, and that was because of David Lee Roth. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So, but I first came to be aware of Wolfgang when I saw video clips. Well, I mean, obviously, if you're a Van Halen fan, you know the song 316. That was the song that Eddie released on For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge in 1991 to celebrate the birth of his son Wolfgang, because that's his birthday. So, that's when I knew of him, was with that song. And, he was very secretive about putting him out there until he reached his teenage years, which is when, if anybody saw any bootleg video footage from the Best of Both Worlds tour, the reunion between Van Halen with Sammy Hagar in 2004, Wolfgang would come out during Andy's solo and play with him. And the kid had talent, which is funny because guitar is not his first instrument. Drums is. And then 3 years later, when they reunited with David Lee Roth, sans Michael Anthony, who do they have to replace him on bass? Wolfgang. And Eddie said that he did that to help him keep his sobriety. Now, do I love Van Halen? Yes. Am I willing to forego Michael Anthony so Eddie could stay sober and focused? Yes.
First of all, I want to lay something to rest right here and now for everybody that bitches. I love early Van Halen like anybody else. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. And okay, I never saw them live, but you know what? I've heard the records hundreds of times, and I did see them live with Wolfgang. The difference is negligible. The kid has a good voice and can harmonize very well.
Yeah.
Wow, were people giving him shit that he didn't?
Everybody has bitched about Wolfgang being there instead of Michael. Oh, he can't sing as good as Michael. The whole tour was ruined because the background vocals are different. And also, I'll get to this when we get to the discography, but it wasn't just Michael Anthony doing background vocals. I mean, yes, okay, the brothers fucked him. I'll give you that. But Wolfgang was a fine replacement overall. The kid does not deserve the crap that was thrown at him. just because people are mad for nostalgia, you know.
But it's also like the principle. I mean, like that there was no reason to replace Michael Anthony.
Hey
Well,
man, that's between him, Eddie, and
Yeah.
Alex.
and besides, I just listed the reason why Eddie wanted his son on stage with him and not Michael, because he said having him on there would help him maintain his sobriety. And we all
Yep.
know Eddie was hitting the bottle and the coke very hard. So if having your kid up there on stage with you and he could play the hell out of his instrument, I would feel the same way.
I mean, it doesn't help if Michael Anthony's playing his Jack Daniels bass.
Or he's probably always constantly reminded of Sammy and the Cabo Wabo, but neither here nor there. We're not here to talk about Sammy. We're here to talk about Wolfie. And you know, that album that he cut with Van Halen, Different Kind of Truth. Yeah, I don't care that it's made up predominantly of demos from the 70s. I love it.
Well, there's like 12 songs on it, and only 7 of them were demos originally.
Regardless, I mean, it was great to hear those songs finally out.
Same here, except Tattoo. I still don't like that song.
A lot of people are hit or miss with that one.
I
like it, but I don't think it's the best song on Different Kind of Truth, but I like it.
It may be the worst idea for an album leading single they ever had.
I agree with you on that. It should have been She's the Woman, I think.
Yeah.
That was a killer track.
What's interesting about all of that, though, is you can definitely hear where Mammoth started within that, because that was very much Wolfgang's kind of first foray, you know.
Oh yeah, I think he was pretty much like the band leader at that time.
Yeah, he wanted to, and Eddie really supported him. I mean, he says in interviews they all helped him out in the studio, and Ed even helped him with a lot of the first Mammoth album.
He did. And shout out to Catman, who's in the cut right now.
Catman, I gotta tell you this, dude, because I know you love Venom as much as I do. So I listen to my radio show from WMMR every day, you know, even though I'm not in Philly anymore. And the question they had this morning, first of all, I get it. Okay, music trivia on radio shows, they want to give this stuff away. You know, I personally wouldn't want to be stuck with free passes to the new Superman movie either, but that's a separate story. the question out there was, what band put out an album called black metal that also the genre was named after? Two of these chuckleheads answer fucking Wasp.
What?
And all of them collectively had never heard of Venom except the guy that made the question. What is wrong with people, Catman? We need to spread the word and play Welcome to Hell for everybody over the radio.
Wasp is about as black metal as the outfield is death metal. Give me a break.
Dude, I know. And then they're looking at pictures of Wasp back in like 83, 84 and comparing them to how Venom is dressed. And it's like, dude, it's not even close. Have you guys ever heard black metal? You know, that really upset me.
And not this frolicking through the forest crap that all of you are used to nowadays. We mean the old school black metal, you know?
Yeah.
Getting lost in the woods.
Yeah. Ugh. That's how
frolicking in the forest with my tied down nymph or whatever, you know, like stupid ass song titles like that. But I digress.
That's how I knew I was in for something fucked up when Cold Lake started, because it wasn't anymore. It was hey.
All right. We don't have to talk about Cold Lake.
No. And I never would, honestly. I respect Tom's opinion that way. And you know, the thing is, and there's another thing with you know, an artist's choice, like with a lot of this stuff, with them choosing the demos to redo and things like that, not releasing other things. Tom has admitted why he had let over a little bit control of the band at that point. where his headspace was when he co-wrote some of them songs, and he thinks it doesn't serve the legacy, and he's right, and he chooses to keep it out of print, and he made the album. Tough shit. I don't
Well, it's
think
nice
there's
to see
anything
that.
wrong with that.
Well, it's nice to see that an artist has some control over his output.
Mm-hmm. He had to fight hard for a lot of that. Noise Records was not a good label to be on back then.
Yeah, we know what they did to Halloween too. It's a shame. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate, but back to the subject at hand. So Wolfgang Van Halen, probably the reason why we got 8 more years out of Eddie on stage and on record. I wish I had seen that last tour because they pulled out some songs that they hadn't done since their heyday.
Dude, they
like
started off with Light Up the Sky. It was
like
amazing.
my second favorite Van Halen song of all time. The only thing that would have topped it off is if they had tried On Fire. But, I'm not even sure if Dave could have hit those screams the way they did back in the day. So I'm okay to leave well enough alone. And there were some magic moments on stage between them, like Dave telling Eddie that the only time he was ever happy on stage was when he was on stage with Eddie, which I'm like, you know what, for all the drama that they put each other through, it was nice to see that there was unity between them, at least on stage for the fans.
Oh, there definitely was. And even when Dave would interact with Wolfgang, I mean, it was magic. You could tell these guys maybe not truly loved each other, but definitely at least respected each other and were thrilled to be there.
Well, love, I would say they love each other. I think they just, it was love, hate, but obviously there was love there because they all got each other to the dance. I think that's what it is. The only thing is, unfortunately, in the last couple of years, Dave's been referring to Wolf as this fucking kid. It's talking about some behind the scenes drama, but I'm like, Dave, we don't need to know that. We don't need to know about that.
Just Dave being Dave.
Dave being Dave.
And that's about the business side too. I mean, it's
the business. It's exactly what it is. So the years during the pandemic and leading up to the passing of Edward, again, rest in peace, sir. Wolf was working on his first solo album under the title of Mammoth WVH. Now, what I find funny, obviously, is that Mammoth was one of the first names that Van Halen had, along with Rat Salad and a couple of other names. Now, what I find funny is that Wolf has worked very hard towards not trying to emulate his dad, which I respect him for. So I was a little taken aback that he decided to name his project Mammoth WVH, because I'm like, well, aren't you taking from your dad? But then I was thinking, it's probably more of an homage than anything.
I think it was. I love when they were giving him crap in interviews about it, and they're like, well, you can't believe, or why'd you put VH in the title? It's my fucking last name.
Seriously. Yeah, we'll continue about the albums. Unfortunately, Stan's facing Wi-Fi issues. He'll be back in a little bit. But, I follow Wolf on X, and I can't. First of all right, I'm going to flat out say it. As someone who knows social media, who can make reels for social media, who knows how to direct marketing on social media, I just want these words to be emphasized by me right now, live on Rat Salad Review. I fucking hate social media because it gives every jackass out there a voice. When honestly, these are people who've never been told their entire lives to sit down and shut the fuck up. For them to have the audacity to go on X and tell Wolfgang, you should play more of your father songs, while in the same breath saying, stop trying to be like your father. Like, how do you win? How can you win with this crap?
And in today's world, you really couldn't. I mean, he's going to get criticism regardless of what he does, unfortunately. And that was one of the most irritating criticisms about the first album. Well, he was super close with his dad. Of course, it's about Ed, and there's a lot of tributes to him. He
I mean, there was material that I wrote on the first Severed Angel album that was attributed to my late parents and late brother. Because like I lost them prior to writing for that album, so of course you'd be inspired by that. And listen, writers, I believe, should take creative license whenever they can apply it to their work, because that's what artists do. I'm not talking rock stars. Rock stars do it for the money. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking people who genuinely have a passion for music and the need for creativity, which is where I believe Wolfgang falls under. I'm not comparing myself to him whatsoever. I'm just saying I get him. I get why he does what he does. If he was trying to be like his father, he would have probably tried to get on Interscope or on a Warner Brothers Legacy thing and just play Van Halen songs throughout the rest of his career. But he didn't want to do that. I mean, hell, when I saw him open up for Metallica 2 years ago, did he play a Van Halen cover? Absolutely not. When did he leave the Van Halen covers? For the Taylor Hawkins tribute shows, which I thought was a classy move.
This music doesn't sound like Van Halen. You shouldn't use that name. It's my fucking name.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, this is the kind of shit he has to answer to.
It's absolutely insane. Before we go into the reviews, let's see. Catman, Wasp, haha. Venom says that they're every band rolled into one. I'm not even sure if when they. So I knew you were going to usurp this conversation with Venom, Greg. You warned us during the show in the chat. I'm not even sure.
I had that in my mind all day because of that radio show. And I'm like, I know Catman will talk about it with me.
I'm not even sure if when they said black metal, if they actually meant evil. I think they were just rehashing what Priest and Sabbath said about it. The foundries and stamping plants and metal came out looking black. Phase Linear in the room. Yes, Ralph. We love Ralph. All right, on to the first album, the self-titled Mammoth WVH. Stan, since you are the one who brought up Mammoth for our review today, I will let you go first, good sir.
I mean, where do I start? First of all, when I saw the album cover, I knew I had to listen to this. Even if I didn't know what this was, I would have to check it out. That's one of the best album covers I've ever seen. It's so serious, and it kind of reminds me of
It's kaiju on crack.
yeah, but it's also like you guys ever seen that artwork from that guy? I think
Who?
he did like a lot of like like thrash metal covers. Um, I think his name's Ed Ripka, but I'm not. But anyway,
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, Greg?
Yeah. You just keep breaking up, but I know. Yeah, Ed Repka. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. So, I keep breaking up. I should probably. All right. Um. Yeah. So, I like the cover. So let's start with that. I'm not a fan of the production. I mean, like, essentially, what Mammoth sounds like is it's like a cross between like Foo Fighters and Alter Bridge. Just like a mix of both of those bands, and but which is fine. I like both of those bands, but the production, there's something about this modern production that I just don't like. I don't like the way the drums sound. Everything sounds so like
compressed,
tight and compressed, and so
homogenized.
like
it's safe as milk.
Yeah, it's just this weird
Unless you're
sound that
lactose
I feel
intolerant.
like that. I honestly think that the production sort of strips the soul from the songs. It's just I don't know what it is. I just don't like the way it sounds. I feel like the song would have sounded better if it was just they just had a more raw kind of tone to them,
Oh,
in my
totally.
opinion.
I mean, quite honestly, if I didn't read about it, you would never know he was using Ed's Oberheim on this album because it doesn't sound right because of this homogenized production.
Used it on a couple of songs. But yeah, I wouldn't want either. Have his guitar playing is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this kid's really fucking good. I believe he recorded the drums, the bass, the guitars, and
Every
he sang on
instrument, every
he
instrument.
sang on it on top of. He's a phenomenal player. But I don't know. It just there are a couple of good songs on here, but like the second album, I just remember them. I don't remember the songs. Like there's like they sound fine, but there's nothing that sticks out to you. Like there's no and I'm not trying to compare to Mammoth to Van Halen, but like there's no like ain't talking about love or something. There's nothing that really sticks. It's just they just sounds like generic rock songs.
I disagree slightly
Mm.
because I think Distance and Mr. Ed, the opener and the closer,
I
really
like
stick
those,
out
yeah.
because of how heartfelt they are to his dad. He's got a lot of soul in both of them. But Distance, especially, I think is a great, memorable song.
It's a
That's
hard
probably the
listen
best.
though.
That's probably the best song on the album.
Oh, it's easily the best song on the album. I
Yeah.
mean, like you were saying, and partially, honestly, it's the same problem I've had with a lot of albums since the beginning of the CD era. They're too fucking long. And in cases like this, when you have now, granted, the songwriting does improve on the next album, but on this one, when you have a lot of tunes that are essentially kind of the same, it just runs together a little bit, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But I think that's what
Nope.
makes the
Nobody
opener
writes.
and then the closer stand out. What
Nobody
were you
writes what,
saying?
Stan?
I was gonna say nobody writes like 8 minutes. I mean, 8 songs. 39-minute long or something. 30 minutes
I mean,
more.
it is a true statement that most classic albums,
Just
it's like,
like everything's just
oh, we
like
still
packed
talking.
to the brim now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're no, I agree with you. I mean, like, I think, most of the albums that are classic, in my opinion, are the ones that you could fit on two sides of a vinyl, you know? You don't really need to do more than that unless that's your writing style. Like if you're a band like Tool or, if you're a band like Pink Floyd, then you release double albums. But, that's fine. But, this is, I don't want to say that it's generic or homogenized. I wouldn't say that about Wolf because there is heart and soul in his music. Um, but for all intents and purposes, it's it's hard rock with a pop tinge. I hear more 90s alternative influence in this than almost anything else. Like for God's sakes, I couldn't believe it. I was driving home from work today, and like as I'm listening to him, I'm like, my God, his voice reminds me. You're gonna laugh at me for saying this. Brian Vander Ark of the Verve Pipe.
I'm not going to laugh at you because I thought the same thing. And quite
Oh my
honestly,
God.
even though he's a much better guitar player than this band, but there's a lot of licks he tosses out there that really bring to mind some better than Ezra.
Better than Ezra.
Yeah. And
That
that's
is
not a
interesting.
bad thing. It made me think of these 90s bands more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, he even said it himself. His biggest influences were AC/DC, White Stripes, Tool.
I definitely hear the White Stripes.
And definitely a lot more alternative than anything. By the way, Stan, look, it's much better now. But I will admit, the first album, I had to listen to it a couple of times for me to like really grasp the songs. I will say this. I mean, I think he knocks it out of the ballpark with the first 4 songs: Mr. Ed, Horribly Right, and Epiphany, and Don't Back Down. Don't Back Down definitely reminded me of a little bit of like, Queens of the Stone Age with the fuzz guitar there. And I like that about him. I like the fact that he's not, it's not even that he's purposefully not trying to sound like Eddie. He's just not sounding like Eddie because he's not Eddie. He's Wolf. I'd rather him fail and be himself than him try to succeed and be something he's not.
Exactly.
And Resolving You'll Be the One, it was kind of losing me. But then the title track came on, and when I saw him open for Metallica, that's what they opened up with. And my buddy Alan and I, when we were going to our seats, and like all of a sudden we're just like, oh my God, that's a really good riff. And like, the way they just break it, this song should have opened the album up, I think, because it really packed a punch. And the guitar solo is simple, but oh my God, is it effective?
Oh yeah,
I agree.
That's another great song. I forgot about that one actually. Well, I didn't get the chance to write any notes for this, so my memory's still shot.
No, I just took photos of the title track of the tracking list and just marked off. Okay, I like this one. Like this one. Didn't like that one. Other songs that I liked off this was The Big Picture, Think It Over, You're to Blame, Feel was great, and Stone. Distance is a very hard listen for me.
Really?
It's a really good song. It's a beautiful song, but unfortunately, that came out around the time that my mom got sick. So it's a very hard listen for me, and I feel bad saying this because I don't want to take away from how good it is. So I'm glad that you guys praised it.
It is a good song. I mean, I believe it was like the first one that he released, and
It was.
It was the first single. Yeah.
It's really cool. I mean, even if I didn't know what it was about, I'll still think it. I'll still think it was a cool song. It's a very nice melodies and everything like that.
It was a beautiful video too. It was such a touching. It was nice to see Eddie humanized. Because since 1978, the man, God, every year this guy was voted best guitarist in Guitar World magazine. In the entire decade of the 80s, everybody ripped him off. It's like, the guy just wanted to play his guitar and be happy. I don't think he cared for the accolades. And, he said it himself, his son was his greatest creation. I wish every son could hear I wish every child could hear their father say that.
Certainly.
It's that video definitely humanized him, and
we're not gonna start crying here, right? Are we?
No. I'm not gonna start crying. No, but again, I can't help but be annoyed with the baboons on social media.
The baboons.
I can't call them any other respectable animal. It's like, come on, man. It's like, leave the kid alone. Let him do his thing.
Yeah,
it's crazy, and it's crazy. It's like these middle-aged dudes, like got nothing better to do but to just like throw shit at this kid. Like, what the fuck? I mean, it's just go listen to your Van Halen records. This is a whole different thing.
Yeah, well, exactly. Why even worry about it?
I mean, not for nothing. To me, it's like these are the same guys that I would see walk into Guitar Center or Sam Ash, take a PV Wolfgang or an EVH Wolfgang off the stand, plug into an EVH 5150 amp, and start playing Eruption 3 times over.
Yeah,
like I want to. I one time went up to a guy, put the standby on, and said, "We get it. You're not Eddie."
That's another thing, though. He's got a guitar named after him too. I like those guitars.
Not only that, he modeled his own version of the Wolfgang. Like it's a two-nomatic bridge with a hollow body. It's got a hole in it,
Mm.
and it sounds amazing. Like the way he plays it, and you know, it's funny. Obviously, he does a two-handed tapping. Does he rely on it all the time? No. And when he does it, it sounds tasteful and clean.
Oh yeah.
I hate to admit it. I think he did it better than his father did.
Whoa.
Well,
I
I
know,
don't know
I
about
know,
all
I know.
that, but
But I mean, on record, it's like the way he makes it sound. It becomes part of the song, not just a solo, and he plays it so clean. And that's the one positive compliment I'll give the production about this is that his lead playing sounds very clean.
yeah. And when I said, homogenized, I didn't mean it. The music was generic. I was talking about the production.
I know you weren't
Yeah.
comparing it to Five Finger Death Punch, Greg. Don't worry.
Yeah,
No.
no,
No,
definitely not.
this is like 100
But
miles better than.
Uh,
Oh,
that
his
goes
far
guitar
without
away from that.
playing,
saying.
his guitar playing is definitely the highlight of the album. And honestly, wow, I forget how many songs are on this album. Like 12,
14,
14,
14.
yeah.
not including
Yeah,
the Japanese pressing, 15.
yeah. So I really like about 6 of them. And I will say his guitar playing is great throughout. Um, but he definitely grew as a songwriter on the next album. And
Oh yeah, I can't
I
wait to
mean,
talk about that one.
this is a debut. I think it's good for that, and he's got a few what I would call classics on here.
I
All
mean,
right.
like
That
in general, like, maybe I was just being a little harsh about saying this generic, but I
No,
I
some
like,
of them are in the middle of the album. I mean,
yeah,
it really
Well,
is the guitar playing that sticks out more than anything else.
right.
and
I
it's like
mean,
it's like I said, like you could definitely tell that his influences lie within like '90s alternative.
yeah, but I mean, I do like the songs. I just think that what's bothering me is just the way it sounds. That's all.
Mhm.
Like, it just kind of like it just kind of hurts my enjoyment of it. And I know, like, the producer he's working with, he also did, like, big records and stuff. He works with Alter Bridge too and stuff. So I'm sure what he does well. It's just, I don't know, I just kind of feel like, Wolfgang would have probably benefited from like another somebody else at the mixing board. But
It's possible.
that's just my opinion, though. But I like the songs. Yeah, like, you know they're not bad at all. Are we? Yeah, like,
I mean, the one thing about the producer though, it's like,
yeah,
I mean, I've only really listened to the first two Alter Bridge albums,
yeah.
and
Well, you've heard
Those
them
are really
all.
good.
they're both really good, but they're both really meaty. So, like, I'm wondering, if those were recorded on a mixing board as opposed to like an interface, because I think he recorded this in his home or in his home studio,
Ah,
which,
Okay.
let's face facts. I mean, I record through a digital interface. It's a lot different recording digitally than it is being in a studio and like having like uh expensive equipment to capture you. However, I the biggest issue that I have with music that's produced nowadays is the whole loudness thing. But I think that
yeah,
now people know not to record in the red, like where they're bleeding. For example, if anyone listens to the remixed version of Vapor Trails from Rush, it sounds better than the original pressing because that I love that album, but it suffered from the production. Maybe one day down the line, hopefully, if Wolf ever decides that he wants to remaster it or remix it and uh make it sound like it's supposed to, like more stripped down. I would love to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, moving right along. His second and most recent album, Mammoth II, was put out not too long after. And right off the bat, before I pass it to Greg, because I'll let him go first this time, this album is already a huge improvement over the first one, in my opinion. I'll go last. Greg, I'll let you go first after you're done sending a text message.
No, you can go ahead. I'm reading something about this. So go ahead.
All right. Stan, you go.
I mean, I feel like this album is more focused. There's more variety in it. Um, I also think Wolf is actually has improved as a singer as well, and that's another thing I kind of want to bring up. I really like how his voice sounds in contrast to the heavier songs. Like he's not an aggressive singer, but but it works. Like his tone, it really fits. It kind of has this nice contrast. But I think they kind of balance each other really well.
Yeah.
And I think there's better riffs on this album. And let me see, like what else they say. Yeah, I like the song "Optimist."
Mhm.
Sometimes it's the little things that he does really well, especially like the breakdowns. The middle sections, like the little riffs here and there, like they sound really cool. I like the breakdown in Optimist. That's where like shit kind of ramps up a little bit. I think what's the other one? I was gonna talk about "Don't Back Down," but that's from the first album. So that's another song
You
that
could
has.
you could piggyback on that if you want. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's the same idea here. Like, "Don't Back Down" has like another song where, has a cool breakdown riff. He's really good at that. Just like writing these little like I guess filler sections, if you want to call them that. I don't know. But uh dude, Take a Bow. That it has a great solo and it reminds me of Eddie. I mean, I hate to bring it up because I know this is Wolfgang. I know this is Mammoth. It's not Van Halen. But
Well, I don't think he would be offended by a statement like that. I think he'd be, uh, but he's not even offended when people tell him, uh, take your name out of the band name, or you should be more like your father, or stop trying to be like your father. I mean, like he takes those trolls and just like has fun with them. But if I don't think you'd be offended if he was told, your playing is as good as your dad's, or you have moments of your playing that reminds me of your dad. I don't think he would be offended by a statement like that at all. He'd probably be like, "Yeah, you're
well,
right. He's my dad."
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, like I kind of wonder if he maybe used the Frankenstrat. I'm not sure on this song, but yeah, Take a Bow has great. It's got that
I
like the
believe he did.
tapping. What
I believe he did.
he did? Okay.
One of the songs he used it on. I'm pretty sure. I think
It
I
it
read that.
yeah, it's got like nice like tapping section and everything like that. So it's really cool. Um, I also want to say that like I feel like some of the strength in his writing lies in his ability to write longer songs. Like on the first album he had what was it called? I think what the fuck? Let me see here. Like it's Stone. And also you got like Take a Bow, and then you have like a Better Than You on this album. These are like the longest songs he wrote, and I feel like these are some of my favorite ones, like really at the top. And I think he does these really well. Like he's really good at arranging these longer tunes for some weird reason, kind of better than the shorter ones. Uh, that's just
I agree on Take a Bow and Better Than You. Stone is probably one of my least liked songs on the first one.
yeah. I mean, I like all three of them, but Yeah, like
There's definitely improvement this time around.
There's much more variety to Take a Bow, which I think is the best song on this album,
I
actually,
agree.
and Better Than You. They're also much more, well, this whole record really, his songwriting is much more muscular this time around,
Mm.
I would put it. He's just as impassioned, but he's learned to use his voice a little bit better. And really, I mean, when you sit down and think about it, Eddie passed in 2020. For the most part, he had finished writing the first one, I think, by 2018. He said in an interview, it's either 2018 or 2019. So, not, I mean, there's plenty of passion on the first one, but I think
He's getting better.
more this time around. Yeah. And there's a lot more variety on Mammoth too, which is where, those longer songs work so much better than Stone does on the first album.
Dude, maybe the next album's gonna be just prog or something. I don't know. But he's really good at that. Like I actually I think he needs to explore that further, in my opinion. Also, this album cover is, I think it was done by the same guy. It's pretty funny, just like the skeleton with the, it's like this like post-apocalyptic scene, I guess. You got the fireworks in the background and stuff. It's pretty
Oh,
cool. It's like
I liked the first one. I actually thought this album.
yeah, the first one is also really
No,
cool.
I like this album better, but
So
I thought this album was light years beyond what his first album was. I always say that I I'm happy if a band experiments and not tries to replicate the same thing over and over again as they did on their previous album or previous albums in general.
mhm.
Right off the bat, when I first heard the opening track, right, I was like, okay, Wolf is definitely up the ante in terms of his songwriting and his arranging already with like the first track. But you guys are gonna think I'm nuts. I think Like a Pastime, like that's the riff that I wish I had written. Like I think it's my favorite song on the album. Just like the not the etherealness, but I mean like it definitely it's melodic nature. It's the use of the delay on there. I was like, my God, it's like I wish I had written this riff, and I really gravitated towards this song the most. But I mean, he's got other bangers on here. Another Celebration at the End of the World, killer track.
Yeah.
Miles Above Me, I like Take a Bow. Erased Me, Waiting, and Better Than You. So I didn't mention It's All Right or Optimist. I don't think I don't think they're the worst songs on the album. I just prefer the other ones that much more. I don't think there's really a bad track on here. And this album clocks in around 48 minutes. So,
it's perfect.
It's exactly. And and this was the Metallica tour was his pre-album cycle before this one's release, which apparently this was recorded at 5150. So, you know, to hear the songs live before they come off so much better live than they do on record. And he's got a great band behind him. And I think most of his I think some of his bandmates come they're definitely associated with Mark Tremonti, and they're definitely associated with the band Submersed. Some of them come from Tremonti's band, his solo band. But they go live on stage and they play like a real band. And Wolf's out there in his Van sneakers, his black t-shirt, and his shorts, and he was just ripping it. He was ripping it. A very good, again, with every instrument on the record played by Wolf himself. I want to say this kid's going places, but he's already been many places,
Yeah,
and
he's
and
already
I just
there.
yeah, and I just hope he continues this upward trajectory. And if anything, with the next album, the first single that we got from at the end, my God, I haven't heard riffage like that in a song, and I can't remember when.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited for the next one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be great.
he's pushing the envelope, which
Um,
I think is great.
Lou, do you hear any Meshuggah influence in Like a Pastime?
That's an interesting.
Well,
Nah,
that's what he said. Wolf said that he was influenced by Meshuggah when he wrote that song because of the polyrhythm.
Now that you mention it,
I would have said Animals as leaders more than Meshuggah, but I definitely know he's a big Meshuggah fan.
Yeah,
I don't know who the hell Animals as Leaders is, but
They're a three-piece with the drummer and two eight-string guitar players. Tosin Abasi is the guitar hero from that band, although Javier deserves a lot of credit too because he's really good. Um, yeah, well, look, I mean, you're shaped by the music that influences you. So
mm,
it would only make sense that eventually, probably one day down the line, he would have written a song with polyrhythms based on his affinity for Meshuggah, which is fine. You know, I mean, for God's sakes, the Red Hot Chili Peppers had a hit with Danny California, which I'm sorry, that's Last Dance from Mary Jane with Tom Petty. It's like, come on. Influence can only, originality can only go so far. Sometimes you can't help but, you know, get bogged in by what came out before.
sure. Well, the funny thing is, I liked Meshuggah a lot, and well, I haven't listened to them in years, but I didn't pick up on that until Stan mentioned it.
yeah. It's one of those things that like you don't really realize until somebody does mention it, and then you're like, oh yeah. But in general, I mean, like I said, like both of these albums are have cool songs. I like the tunes a lot. I especially like his guitar playing. Again, just my biggest criticism is just simply the production. That's all. And
I
you
did
know,
think it was better on the second one, though.
I agree.
Yeah.
yeah, everything was better on the second album.
Well, yeah,
But
this is true.
what do you guys
Won't
think of
deny that.
him? What do you guys think of him as a singer?
I think he's really good. I think he stays within his wheelhouse. There's soul and passion
Yeah.
in the way he sings, which is far more than I could say for a lot of people. Because after a while, I get tired of with the hand gestures and all that. I'm sorry, the Beyonce shit is old. You
Well,
know,
that's even like, I mean, I've seen shit online where people are just, oh, he's just the new Nickelback. No, now
Nah,
Nickelback.
it's because it has that production to it. I swear.
that's what it is, Greg. It's
Yeah.
it's just the
I
production.
think
That's all.
that is the only reason that people are making some of these wild accusations is strictly the production sound.
I
Again,
mean,
sorry, Sam, go ahead.
I mean, really, this is just like pentatonic based rock music.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Jack White writes the same shit, but it doesn't. It sounds nothing like this. It's just it's all in the production, and that's the thing that just I don't know, just doesn't seem to fit his songwriting, in my opinion. But what do I know? I'm not a mixing engineer or anything. I'm just an asshole with an opinion. But
I
yeah,
mean, I think I like it that he takes creative license to write whatever the hell he feels like. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if he wants to write a song with a driving riff like Mammoth, or
yeah,
one that's got like a shuffle type thing like Don't Back Down, Don't Look Down, or Don't Back Down. I'm sorry. Or even like a polyrhythm, such as in like a pastime.
like a pastime. Huh?
Let him do what he wants because um, there's nothing worse for an artist than if you've been putting the shackles on him. Now, in some cases, like Van Halen 3, shackles should have been put on. But we're not talking about Van Halen 3 yet. We'll wait for the Van Halen discography on that one.
About the only real criticism I can give, and that is because most of this shit, especially from the second album, the first time I heard it was through live videos. And don't get me wrong, there is absolutely nothing wrong with Wolfgang's playing. However, I really hope in the future he uses more different musicians on these records, at least that he plays live with, because I think it would give it just a slight bit more flavor.
Mm.
And I'm not saying he does it wrong or badly. I'm trying to say he does a little too much, and having some extra help with playing some of it would just make him come off a little bit stronger.
Well, I think if he had the input of some members of his live band, it would definitely make his recording output that much stronger. Because live, they're just a very tight unit, you know, and you can tell that they're very loyal to him. I mean, I'm sure he's paying them. Yeah, I said unit.
You want to see my unit?
You know, but I I don't want to say that Wolf is one of the fresh faces of rock, because the kid's been doing it since 2007. And, I only refer to him as a kid because I'm 10 years older than him.
Well,
but I have so much respect for him as a human being and as a musician. And I think he's honoring his father by doing his own thing. And
totally.
I feel as though he should be praised for that. And if it's not good enough for the morons on X, Metallica thought it was good enough for him to open up their 72 seasons tour. So guess what? He's making bank.
A different way with that.
Well, let me finish what I was saying, then you could finish your statement. So he's making bank, and you're at home playing wank. Okay, what were you going to say, Greg?
I was going to say, continue being a sheep. Buy another Metallica record.
Okay.
Wolfgang writes songs for himself that are good. He doesn't write songs that everyone will like Metallica.
I didn't like 72 seasons, so I do not fall in that category.
The most honest thing they've done since the Black Album.
You thought the Black Album was honest?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that was a cash out. I truly think that's the way they were moving at the time. The most disingenuous album of that early period is Injustice for All, because they felt they had to prove something by moving into this. Well, first of all, they're not good enough musicians to pull hardly any of that shit off that they tried on there, except for one. One is without a doubt their perfect song.
One was perfect.
Yeah, that is really the biggest highlight of Justice, but that was more them doing something disingenuous and trying to do what a lot of these other bands were doing during that era. But I truly think Black Album is where they were headed, and was truly what they were feeling and wanted to be at. And you can think whatever you want about the fact that it's hard rock. I'm not saying I'm a huge fan of it. I would never buy it, quite honestly, because I'm not really into it. But you can definitely feel the heart in that one, where you can't with Justice.
Fair enough.
I think at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if James Hetfield just wants to put on a cowboy hat and strum some cowboy chords and just do that.
He did that during Load.
Yeah, he's gonna go hang out with David Vincent.
Huh? I feel like that's what he wants to do. Really.
I mean, Greg, I would not. I definitely want to be honest. I do enjoy the three tracks off Justice that I do love are one, Dyer's Eve and Blackened. A lot of the other songs I feel need heavy editing because repetitive riffs every 2 minutes don't make good songs. My opinion.
100% agree. Between the repetitive riffs and the drum beats.
Yeah.
But point being, where I was going originally is, Wolf isn't like that. This kid has a lot of variety in his songwriting.
Yeah.
But and that's why I hope he does record something with his live band one day and give them a little bit of input, because I think it could add a little bit more spice to this stuff. But as an album, I mean, the first one I'd give a 7 out of 10, but 2 gets a 9. I really think it's a great record.
Wow.
I'm with you on both of them.
There's Optimist and not the song that follows it, but the one after that aren't.
Who's cooking in the background?
Sorry. Optimist and Waiting, I'm not really the biggest fan of, but it's not like they're bad tunes.
Right.
And to be honest, even though Stan actually brings it up a lot, but breakdowns, I think, are for the most part weak shit for people who can't solo, but Wolf uses them really well to highlight the tunes.
Yeah,
he comes up with some really interesting riffs, unlike where it became a super popular thing in the early 2000s and all that shit throughout with nu metal. That was just a bunch of idiots just hitting a couple riffs so a bunch of morons that were on E in the audience could windmill or whatever. Mosh pit. Yes.
I'm with you on that, but when the breakdown's done well, it's done well.
I do want to clarify that what I was trying to say though is just that it's kind of like when he the way he just does incorporates, like, the little bells and whistles into these parts. He does it really well. Like, they're very congruent with everything else, and they stand out to me. It's the little things sometimes to me as a listener, just the little things.
What do you rate the album, Stan?
Well, the first one I'll give 7.
Okay.
Or maybe, maybe 6. I want to go with 6. The second one, I'm going to go with 8.
All right.
8 out of 10.
And I could see that. Yeah.
All right, so all three of us agree that the second one is definitely our preferred Mammoth WVH album.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
I mean, he just improves so much between the two, quite honestly, as a songwriter and a musician. Yeah.
No argument at all. I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of the album that's dropping in October around my birthday. So yeah.
Imagine. You see, like Greg mentioned, the Cancer album, which I did listen to. Imagine if Wolf kept his songwriting exactly the same, but it had the Cancer production.
I think it'd be the best album of the year. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear.
Aside from the songwriting on that Cancer album, the production was. I mean, I was telling Greg, it was
great, right?
It's great to hear like I'm actually listening to a band playing, and it's sounding organic, and it's sounding compressed as shit, being played through like a plastic tube.
That's what I said. It sounds alive.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like. So. That's what I want to hear. Like, that's how rock albums should be made.
Totally.
Rock was meant to be dirty and in your face, not cleaned up for,
I don't give a shit if you're writing a crybaby ballad. I don't care. Like, I want to hear that raw sound. Like, it's just everything just sounds so like. I mean, you mentioned the word compressed, but it just has this like very. Like, it strips the soul out of the songs. It's just weird.
Look, the problem is the fact that music that's meant for radio is like compressed for digitalization before they even consider it for vinyl or CD. Because unfortunately most people I should say listen to their music through either their Spotify account or Apple Music, or in Wayne's case, Amazon Music. You lose so much I mean,
everybody's a bunch of pussies now. Black is the night, metal we fight.
I mean, like, you know, like I own the Black Sabbath discography, and I ripped each one of those CDs onto my MacBook and synced it to my iPhone because to me that's the way that I'm meant to hear them, and also it keeps me from paying Sharon in royalties because fuck that bitch. Anyways, moving right along. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. I'm glad Jake Lee made amends with them, but.
And I'm glad Lee Kerslake and Daisley eventually got their gold albums and all that and some recognition. But you know what? It's all too little too late.
I agree. So we're about ready to wrap this up. But guys, I got to show you something. I'm going to share something right now for people to peruse at. This was an incredibly heartbreaking thing. And unfortunately I was there when it happened. Thankfully, it wasn't one of mine. But I was at band practice yesterday with my cover band because we have a couple of shows coming up soon. And okay, hold on. There we go. Okay. So we have a couple of shows coming up soon, including a wedding that we're playing. And my guitarist Vin from my cover band 90 Below brought his Epiphone Casino with him to practice. And unfortunately, the guitar met its untimely demise yesterday.
Oh, of course.
Ooh.
Clean off at the headstock.
Is it Chipson?
And the other photo, you're probably wondering what happened to the headstock. Here you go. Clean off at the nut. That didn't sound right.
Well, we all know what you mean, but
I know. So, you know, the sad thing is, like, he bought this guitar brand new when it first came out for, I think, somewhere between $300 to $400. And the guitars now go, the Epiphone Casino goes for $600 to $900. And I asked one friend of mine who's a tech, I was like, you think this could be fixed? And he's like, no. No. And I felt so bad. I mean, there's one other guy that I could ask. So, you know, shout out to Johnny Ash from All Music, who sets up all my guitars. Great guy. He couldn't fix it. It's unfortunate. I'm gonna ask Joe Bonomo over at JMB Guitars in Kings Park if he could do it, because you know he does some good stuff. But
you could also ask my guy Sal Tyne.
You think you do it?
I don't know, but it's worth asking.
All right, cool. I'll send you the photos to send him. Maybe, you know, he could give a bump.
Maybe not buy an Epiphone next time.
Or if you're gonna buy an Epiphone, don't buy the Casino. I don't care if your favorite guitar players are John Lennon and Noel Gallagher. Don't buy the fucking Casino. But Vin, I'm sorry, man. I know you love that guitar, but I told you, stick with your Fender. It's a bolt-on neck. You can always replace the neck if the neck breaks.
I'm sorry, brother. That's a real shame, and I'm also sorry. Noel Gallagher is one of his favorites.
I love you, Vin. I'm sorry, buddy. But anyways, we're gonna wrap it up. I'm glad we actually picked a quick short subject to discuss. Thank you, Stan, for bringing up Mammoth WVH. Let's see. Where the hell is it?
Yeah, thanks, Stan. This was a good one. This was a lot of fun to go through.
Yeah, we need to discuss more of this, like more contemporary rock metal artists. You know, I know it's always fun to discuss, you know, the usual suspects, you know, like the Maiden, the Priest, and all that stuff, you know, BLC. But, you know, it's cool just like, you know, getting familiar with what else is going on. By the way, we do have to do the BLC Discog too.
Indeed.
So
the other thing about that too is, though, I mean, there is some modern stuff I like, but I can't be Kurt Loder. I'm not gonna pretend that, oh yeah, I love this shit.
Yeah.
I might think it sucks or I don't get it. I can't pretend to be. Hey,
Yeah.
kids.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
First of all, I think you already have more credibility than Kurt Loder because you know,
That was the best example I could think of.
I never met a more disgusting snake from MTV than Kurt Loder. I mean, like, I'm sorry. Every time I think of Kurt Loder, I think of that episode from South Park where, like, I'm Kurt Loder. I'm still at MTV. I'm 60 years old talking about this shit. You know, that's what I think of when I think of Kurt Loder.
It's true.
And that's when MTV played music, which, by the way, apparently they're having to be amazing in this year. Why? You don't even show music videos anymore.
Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, who's going to win? Megan Thee Stallion? Does she? I don't know. Anywho.
Buy the new Severed Angel album.
Yes. SeveredAngel.com. The website's updated. Albums on No Life Till Metal Records. If we don't have it on our Bandcamp, go to the record label. You could buy it directly from there, or you could buy it on Amazon. I don't know if you could still buy it on Target. I don't know if Target ever sold it. But check this out. You know, we still got copies left, so get them while you can. We are already working on the layout for album 4. I have no problem discussing it. It's a concept album. It's called The Cost of Creation. No, it's not a pro or anti unaliving of fetuses album. Okay, because you know,
the pro-abortion album.
Oh, thanks, Dick. Anyways, it's not that.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say what the concept is about. However, tomorrow I actually have my final meeting over storyboarding with my cousin Mariah Placas, who's an animator. Where did Greg go?
I don't know. I guess you got sick and tired of your shit.
Probably.
Yeah.
And you just wiped yourself away. Anyway, so as I was saying, tomorrow I have a final meeting with Mariah Placas, who is animating a film to go along with the album. And looking forward to that, because once that storyboard is up, then, you know, it gets sent to the band for approval. We check it out and can't wait to release the film along with the album around the same time. And we're actually looking to bring it to film festivals too. So I'm excited about that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty ambitious right there.
Pretty stupid if you ask me, but yeah, we'll see what happens. For a band that doesn't tour, we'll see what happens. So anyways, thanks everybody for watching Rat's Eye Review. Thanks, Stan, for joining us. I thank Greg, but he booked. I don't know what happened.
I have Wi-Fi issues.
Greg, sorry, effing dog actually knocked out the power plug to the router, chasing the cats. Oh my God. Greg, don't turn your apartment into a PetSmart. That's all I got to say. Anyways, thanks for joining us. We'll be back with the usual suspects next week. That means Wayne's coming back. We're going to be discussing the Van Halen discography, 2 albums at a time, because we can't sit through all 12 in one night. Otherwise, it'll never end. Anyways, thanks everyone for watching. Thank you, Sam, for joining. And bye, Greg. And chihuahuas, everyone. Good night.
Good night, everyone.